Alright, let's get this camera together. What's going on, you guys? This is Danyol Jaye with JayeSpotTV. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and like this video. I'm here bringing you a review. I can speak, I promise. I'm here bringing you a review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 17, The Strip is a Trip, which aired last night. But before I do that, I want to shout out AfterBuzz TV hosts DJ Jesse Janity, Stephanie Bauer, Mikey Watts, and Courtney Stewart. You can all follow them on Twitter. I believe Jesse's Twitter is at DJ Jesse J. Stephanie Bauer is at Stephanie Bauer TV, and then you have at Mikey Watts 3000, and Courtney's is at Stuart Starlet. So go follow them. They are great hosts. They do an after show for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and last week they shouted me out for something that I had posted on their iTunes podcast. This week they shouted me out for a video that I sent them of Kenya Moore in the Waiting to Exhale movie that she said she was in, and nobody believed her, and she was in it. She was at the beginning. She had a speaking role. She had like a line and 3 dirty looks, and then that was the end of it. But yeah, it was. You can find it on YouTube. I believe it's Kenya Moore in Waiting to Exhale or whatever it is. But I gotta shout them out, give them love. I love their show. I love their energy. Their chemistry together is great. And so they get major love from me. But I'm here to talk about my bid and my take on last night's episode. And let's get right into it. The girls go to Vegas for an all-girls trip. And Nene gets them a party bus to drive from LA to Vegas while she stays behind to go to work and, you know, do some episode for the new normal, I believe, and then she's gonna fly first class while the girls are on the highway, as she put it. And I thought that was a little bit of shade there, but, you know, get with it. So they're on the party bus, not a lot going on the party bus. Kenya gets up, wants to play a game where you take a piece of paper, and whoever is on that piece of paper, whatever name is on that paper, you have to mimic. Cynthia did Candy, did her to a T. Lady Portia, she did Nene, and it was okay. I mean, I didn't know who the hell she was mimicking until they said it, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then Phaedra got Kenya, which, as you already know, Kenya, Portia, and Phaedra, they just on odds. You got Phaedra and Portia on one side, and you got Kenya on the other, and it's just a whole lot of drama going on. But all you have to do to imitate Kenya is do what? Twirl. Which is what she did, and everybody knew who the hell she got. Then later on the party bus, Candy gets up, and I guess this is part of another game, which I wasn't really sure on, but she just shares this story about her and some random dude having oral sex, and in the midst of it starts talking about how she farted in the middle of her orgasm, and as she put it, she was like, and she just held the man's head down there because she didn't want him to stop. And I was like, you chamber deathed him? Like, you gas chambered him to give you oral sex after you just let out this nasty piece of air? And even Phaedra was like, well, did the poot stink? But, did the poot stink? And she was like, no, it was just a little air biscuit, just a little air pocket. So, whatever. They get to Vegas. It's girls' night out. They get all glammed up because they're going to a strip club, which I believe was called the Crazy Horse or whatever. And Portia, prior to that, had asked, was this a strip club? Because she didn't feel comfortable going to a strip club. And they were trying to make light of it. And so I don't know where the hell she got the idea that they went from strip club to burlesque show. But that's what she thought she was going to. And she was sadly mistaken. They got all glammed up, got in the limo. Cynthia was looking a hot mess. I don't know what was going on with Cynthia's hair this episode. I was not liking it whatsoever. I think the only time I like it is when she had it wrapped up in the second scene in the beginning of the episode. But after she had it all frizzed out, looking a hot mess, talking to Kenya. But in Vegas, she had like this huge fro. It was a wig, but it wasn't a full wig, and it just looked all distorted, and I didn't like it. And she said she was trying to go for a drag queen. I don't know, it was more like drag horror. I didn't like it at all. But anyway, they get into this conversation, this really deep conversation about Portia's marriage and how they feel that Cordell is trying to control her and how she needs to be an independent woman and stick up for herself. And of course, Nene is like, oh honey, I have been there. I know when a woman is being controlled. I know when a woman is this, and I know when a woman is that, because, you know, I've been in those types of relationships. And all I have to say is, back the hell up off of Portia. She is married, okay? And she's a wife, okay? Candy ain't got nothing to say because she ain't never been a wife. She ain't never been married. Kenya, you just need to shut the hell up. You done had 3 engagements and they all ran. And even the fake one that you thought you was dating in Walter, he ain't there no more, so you ain't never been married. And we're gonna leave it at that. Nene, baby, you divorced and now you getting remarried to the same man, so hush. And Cynthia, I was surprised Cynthia didn't have anything more to say in backup of Portia, because when we first met Cynthia and she was engaged to Peter, Cynthia was the very same way to me. She was very standoffish, she was very timid, and there was a lot of male chauvinism that Peter showed in regards to her, but she landed up marrying him and they got, apparently have a great married relationship. My whole thing is, A, if you're not married, shut up. You have no advice to give to a married woman because you don't know what it's like to be married. So all that independent crap, you can shove it. And then secondly, y'all don't know their marriage. If their marriage works for them, then leave it alone. Who are you to come into their life, into their marriage, and tell them how their marriage should be? Apparently, if their marriage wasn't working, they'd be like Nene and divorced. Okay, how about that shade? How about that cup of tea? And I just feel like Portia is the youngest of them. I think above her is Candy by a few years, but her mind is young. She's a very, as Miss P put it, air pockets and turbulence is up there, but I think that she's a smart girl in certain aspects, but she's a privileged girl. She grew up with money and she's naive in a lot of ways, and I think that Cordell tries to guide her in a more of a mature and adult way, and when we see it in the editing and when we see it in the way that it's put together, because that's Bravo's job to edit it, we think that Cordell is being overbearing or what have you, and I just don't think that's it. I think they have a great friendship as a foundation, and their marriage is built on that. And as a religious woman, for those of you who might not know, Portia is a minister. She preaches and she teaches at her church. And so there's a religious side to who she's trying to be as a wife. She wants to be that biblical, virtuous woman. And for her, their relationship works. Now, there are a few things I agree Cordell needs to tone it down a little bit. But I don't think that I don't think it's one of those things where Portia's like, well, can I go Cordell? And he's like, no, you have to go cook for me. Come on now, it's Portia. She's not the most eloquent of the girls. Sometimes she says things and you just be like, this is the girl that said it was 256 days in a year, okay? The same girl. So when she says stuff like Cordell let me, I don't think that she means where she literally asked permission, but I think the conversation was more so, babe, the girls want to go on an all-girls trip to Vegas. Do you mind if I go? And he was like, no, babe, sure, have fun. And I think that when Cordell goes out with his boys, or if he wants to do things, it's the same conversation. Babe, the boys want to go out, is it cool? And she'd be like, yeah, babe, just have fun, be safe, or whatever, I'll see you. So I need y'all to back up off of Portia. And let me just say this one thing with Miss Kenya freaking Moore. She made a comment in her interview talking about, well, we don't come from rich families and we had to work for what we got and we didn't marry good. Pause, heifer, you ain't married. Okay, you ain't married nobody. You didn't marry rich, you didn't marry poor, you're single, boo, okay? You're single. And I'm sorry for those of you, and Candy, I know that you love Todd and you engaged and all that great wonderfulness, but baby, until he put a ring on that finger, a ring that either you buy, he buy, or you both buy, you're single. When you fill out a job application, it says married, single, widowed, divorced. Dating and engaged ain't nowhere on the application. So if you're not married, you're single. And if you're single, shut the hell up about what you can tell a wife, a W-I-F-E. You might want to listen to Portia just a little bit. Maybe you get a husband. All I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, they go into the strip club. Portia's like, I'm not going. I have an image to uphold. There are girls that I'm trying to reach. I'm going back to the hotel. Y'all have fun. Bye. They get in there. Girls, cooches is everywhere. Breasts is everywhere. And they making it rain, and apparently Kenya likes to make it rain, and apparently Phaedra do too, because she's all up in the woman's vagina talking about, oh my God, your skin is so beautiful. Oh, your shape up is so nice. And I'm like, girl, drop them dollars and stop looking at her clitoris. Let it go. This is not the place. You here, that is not what you here for. And in the middle of all this, again, they get back on Portia. And I'm just like, why? You know, I think, as well as Stephanie Bauer, she said it in the AfterBuzz show, where a little bit of it is set up, because I truly don't believe that Nene give a damn about Portia. Talking about, I just want to see her be an independent woman, and I want to see her, you know, her dreams flourish, because Portia has dreams. Nene, you don't give a damn about her dreams. You wouldn't give a damn if she had nightmares. Hell, you worried about you, your business, your man, and your marriage that you about to have, the new normal, and everything that you're doing. So don't front. Bravo, wasn't a good idea. I mean, we can see past that. No. Nene don't give a damn about that girl. She don't even know that girl. So yeah, and then they have this other little stripper girl. She come over and she's talking to them, and they're all like, well, do you have a boyfriend? And she's like, well, no, because, you know, it's the business. Like, this is what I do, and that's not really conducive to, you know, having a man. And so that was that conversation. Anywho and who diddles, they go on, and it's the next day, and they're getting ready for another girls' night out, and, you know, Portia's not ready yet, and they're all like, well, why aren't you ready? You've had the most sleep, like you didn't go anywhere last night. And Cynthia comes in. Cynthia, let that wig go, baby. Put that in a trash can and burn that. Burn your wig like I told Candy to burn them print pants that she had on in last week's episode. Y'all just have a burning party. Put it in the pit, and just all kind of alcohol and lighter fluid, and throw a match in there and just let it just ablaze and have just the fire, the flames, just beautiful. Just burn. Don't ever wear nor that dress, that day dress. That's not a day dress. It's not a night dress. It's not even an afternoon dress. Hell, it's not even a dress that you could just hang on a hanger and leave in your closet. Put it in the trash, baby. That trash. Anywho, she came in trying to figure out this whole thing about the relationship between Portia and Cordell. And I understand that they're harping on this because they need to give Portia some relevance. Right now, Portia has no relevance, and that's quite alright. You know, it's a lot of people that had no relevance. Sheree, she's no longer there, but she had a couple of seasons. Kim eventually had no relevance, and she has her own show now. A whole show full of nothing. Just her and her babies and her man. So it's okay. Leave Portia alone. But Portia's talking to Cordell on the phone, and I don't get the essence that Cordell is trying to control her. And you can kind of hear that in his conversation. He's like, well, you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. You didn't hear him say, oh, well, I'm glad you didn't go in there, or well, you know better. He didn't say anything like that. So I don't know where they're getting all of this from. I just think they need to drop it. So they get in the limo again because they're going to Jubilee Theater, which is, like a showgirls show. And Nene, being Hollywood, got them backstage passes to kind of meet the girls of the show and whatnot. And yet again, they're talking about this Portia thing. And I've said all I have to say about it. I mean, if I have to go down the list, Candy, Kenya, y'all are single. You've never been a wife. You've never been married, so shut the hell up. Cynthia, I expected her to be a little bit more in Portia's corner because she was the shy wife when she was or the fiance at least, when she was married and engaged to Peter. That was her. She was very much the same way. Nene, I mean, all that's great. Nene, you're one of the oldest girls there, and you've been married for a long time. But let's face it, you're jaded. You have been divorced. So everything that you're telling her is it's through a filter of your own life, and your life is not her life. Your life is not Portia's life, and your relationship is not Portia's relationship. So I can understand you saying, okay, it's okay to check with your man, but there are some things as a woman that he should probably respect about you. That's good advice. But just to tell her to put that, independent woman stamp on her chest and be like, well, if, I ain't cooking, so you deal with it. You trying to get her just like you, divorced. That's what you're trying to do with some advice like that. Because I looked at you and said, you a damn fool if you think I'm going to tell my man that. That's not going down. And Phaedra, I mean, her marriage is whatever. I just feel like this. Portia is the only one that to me, that has a working, healthy relationship with her husband. The rest of them, and maybe Cynthia, but Nene and Phaedra, they emasculate their men. And they emasculate their men every chance that they get, and I see that in almost every episode. Phaedra is the breadwinner in her house, so, you know, she basically is like telling Apollo what to do and what he don't know and blah, 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 blah. And then Nene, before she became Miss Nene Leakes, honey, in seasons 1 through right around season 3, you wasn't finding her telling Greg a damn thing. She didn't tell Greg nothing. It was, oh, Greg is my man, he's my boo, he's my sugar. And why? Because he was making the money. And when she got a host of that money, and when she started making her own money, and of course the interview that came out, she was like, to hell with you. And then there that went. So, just leave that alone. So anyway, they go backstage and they meet the showgirls, and one of my favorite quotes out of Nene's mouth is, oh honey, yes, I used to be a showgirl too. Not that type of showgirl. I wasn't coming down no stairs or anything. I was just coming down them poles. I hollered. I said, and I have to question, why is Nene like so, like, pro I was a stripper in this season? Like, it seems like everything is, oh, I used to be a stripper, I used to, you know, spread my legs and they used to make it rain, and I just feel like they're really harping on the fact that she used to be a stripper, and I don't understand why. And then of course Kenya puts on a bow where her tits fall out, and it's whatever. What happens after that? Then, oh, yes. So that happens. Then Candy has this idea to do like a girls' in night where, you know, to make Portia feel a little bit better about not having to go to all these strip places. And so she invites the girls to a bedroom candy event where she's going to show the girls her product and play, you know, some little sex games and have a little intimate conversation and whatnot. So they're going through the toys, and they decide to play another game. And the game is to see who can eat a strawberry the sexiest. And of course, Portia's like, I'm not finna do that. And she just kind of chomps her strawberry or whatever. Phaedra got into it, honey. She deep-throated that strawberry for her life. Like, she was like, yes, this is Apollo, and I'm ready to go back home to my husband. And it was, that was hilarious. And then Nene kind of talked about Portia about, you know, being a prude. And I'm like, but weren't you the one when you got interviewed on Candy Coated Nights saying, oh, you don't do all of that, you know, this is, I don't talk about that in public or with my girls, that's for me and my husband, you know, I'm a bit of a prude. Like, you called yourself a prude, so what's really going on? And then something happens where when Kenya does it, I don't know if Phaedra really said it or if they like overdubbed her voice or whomever's voice, but apparently the comment looked like it came from Phaedra about how the way that Kenya was sucking on these strawberries was nasty, and she can understand why Walter didn't like it, which of course sent Miss USA into a frenzy, honey. She couldn't take it. And Nene was being messy. She said, well, why don't you come over here, Kenya, and sit by me, have a glass of wine? And Kenya's all like, where are the glasses? And Nene's like, oh, they're over here by me. And I just kind of felt like she was being messy, like, come over here and, you know, I got your bag, don't worry about this. But if Phaedra said it, like if Phaedra really said it, I don't believe that she said it out of the blue, and I think that it was a low blow either way. But I don't think that she would just arbitrarily say that. And so they play another game where you have to write a relationship related question or a sex related question, ball it up, put it in a bin, and then you pick, and whatever question you get, the rest of the girls have to answer, or you have to answer. And so Kenya gets, or Nene gets, one that says something about, I'm paraphrasing, what do you do when a friend has hurt you and they haven't apologized to you and they're just acting like everything's fine? And everybody's like, oh, well, they should confront you. Like, you should confront that person. And, like, who wrote that? And I'm, like, sitting here like, are you kidding me? We all know who the hell wrote that. And so Kenya's like, well, why don't we ask Phaedra? Because I'm the one who wrote the question. And they get in, her and Phaedra go back and forth. Phaedra's like, well, I mean, you feel like I've done you wrong, and I feel like you've done me wrong. So what? Do you want an apology? And Kenya said, beep, I don't want no damn apology from you. And I'm like, well, if you don't want an apology, why bring it up? What are you harboring? And this is why people think you're crazy. And like I said in on the J-Spot in the last review that I did on the radio show, Kenya needs to take a seat in the back of a bus headed to an acne recovery camp. Just take a nap, girl. I'm so tired of you. If you don't want an apology from her, why are you harboring these feelings? And then she's like, you hurt me to the white meat. Okay, and you just hurt me, and I told you that. And I'm like, you've only known her 2 minutes of your life. What the hell are you so angry about? How the hell can she hurt you to the white meat? Hell, in 6 months you can't even touch me, let alone get close enough to cut me. And it's like, Phaedra wants an apology, Kenya wants an apology, neither one of you are going to apologize. And I feel like I was proud of Phaedra, because Phaedra was being adult about it. And she said, you know, I'm a grown woman, and if you want to talk about this in an adult way, what you don't do is you don't mimic that person if you're trying to have a serious conversation. And Kenya says something stupid, and she's like, don't tell me how to be me. First of all, she didn't tell you how to be you. She said, this is the way that you have a proper adult conversation if you want an honest and real response. You come to me as an adult. You don't come into an event mocking me and then expect me to be apologetic to whatever you feel I did to you. So they kind of left that in the air. And like Nene said, they're not going to be friends. They're probably going to do the fake thing. But it is what it is. And I feel like, Kenya, you just need to sit down. Like, shut the hell up. If it's not that big a deal, because I swear, if she mentions this whole cancer thing one more time, I might break my television, because I'm just like, shut up about the cancer, okay? You don't know Portia, you don't know Phaedra, you wasn't really dating Walter, so just let it go. Get on with your life, stop being so damn dramatic, and find you something else to do. Anyway, next week they are at Peter's birthday party, and of course Walter and Peter are cool, so they invite Walter, but they also invited Kenya. And so Kenya walks in with this really young tenderoni looking escort chaperone person. And I don't know if that's just the person escorting her into the party, or if that was her date or what have you, but they're like, oh, what if she sees Walter? What's going to happen? And I don't think anything's going to really happen. I mean, Moesha's daddy doesn't look like the type to really, you know. And for those of you who wonder why I call him Moesha's daddy, is because my girl Miss P called him that one day on her show, and I have to agree, he does look like Moesha's daddy. If you remember that 90s show, he looks like Moesha's father, Frank. He looked like Frank. So I call him Moesha's daddy due to that. But anyway, he doesn't look like the type of person that's into the drama, obviously, because he stepped away from the role of her man and isn't really looking to have camera time. So we'll see what happens next week. I will be back with another Real Housewives of Atlanta review, as well as talking about it on my show on the J-Spot. Again, make sure you subscribe to JayeSpotTV, like this video. You can follow me at Danyol Jaye, that's DanyolJaye, and don't forget to check out onthejspot.com for upcoming radio shows, events, and blogs. And I just want to say thank you guys for following your support. It makes everything worthwhile. Shout out to my J-scribers, and yeah, I'll see you next video. Peaces, deuces.